It looks like Stafford is going to be out for the season with broken bones in his back. Dak, 440 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. This is his team. But let's be honest, coaching is holding this team back. And that's Jason Garrett. And when we look on the honest picture of this, let's forget it's the Cowboys. Let's forget it's Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones' team. If Garrett was on another team, he would have been gone. Yeah, I know he's won them a lot of conference a lot of division championships and has gotten them to the playoffs. But it's like Marvin Lewis with the Bengals. He got them to the playoffs a lot. But it gets to that point where you're like, okay, this is all we're going to be able to go. And this is a very talented team. I do think that Kellen Moore is a very bright and capable young offensive coordinator that can do special things here. And nothing against Jason Garrett, but I just think that it's time to move on. And I hope that Jerry Jones finally sits there and says, hey, we got a lot of young talent here, because this is, when you look at it talent-wise, this is a Super Bowl caliber team. It is. This is a team that, in my opinion, is one really good head coach away from getting to the Super Bowl. And I'm not going to sit here and get into, is he going to try to pull Lincoln Riley away from Oklahoma? That would obviously, I would think, be the target one. It was Sean Payton with the Saints, but we know he's re-signed, so that's not going to happen. And then the other one that's been talked about is Urban Meyer. Would Urban Meyer be open to coaching in the NFL? And would Jerry Jones and the Cowboys be open to try to get him? But I said going into this season, with what the Cowboys have on that team, if they don't at least make it to the NFC Championship game, Jason Garrett's gone. And, this is a good team. They're 6-4. But we've seen them struggle against the teams that have better records, the playoff teams. We've seen them struggle. They play the Patriots next. But I do think they'll make the postseason, but I don't think that they'll get anywhere near to the NFC Championship game. And I think that's going to be it for Jason Garrett. I expect the Cowboys to get to the playoffs, but I think it's going to be another early exit. And I think Jason Garrett is going to be looking for another job. The Ravens and Lamar Jackson keep rolling in a 41-7 win versus the Texans. Jackson, unbelievable again. 222 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 86 yards rushing. I think the Ravens can sustain this, and I do think, I still really like the Patriots. I know there's offensive issues there, but we all know you cannot count this team out. Just look at last season. Everybody was favoring Chargers, Rams, and Chiefs. That's all you heard. The Super Bowl is going to go through one of those teams. One of those teams is going to win the Super Bowl. Patriots played the Chargers, second round, dominated. Then everybody said, mostly everybody said, they'll lose to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Didn't happen. Then they went to the Super Bowl. People said, that McVay and Goff offense, they're going to dominate and win. It didn't happen. You can never count the Patriots out. And Belichick is always really good at, there's a heavy chance that they see Baltimore again, and it would be in the playoffs. Belichick is very good at beating a team in the playoffs or at any time that he's already seen in that season. And I'm not going to get into, you think that Belichick and the Patriots are holding some stuff back and not showing us everything. I'm sure in that Ravens game, they held things back. I do believe that. I think that they held some things back and they said, let's see what we can do against the Ravens not playing at 100% and holding some stuff back. I do think Belichick does that from time to time. And if you ask me today, if it was Ravens-Patriots AFC Championship game, even if it's not in Foxborough, I'm taking the Patriots. Because Belichick's record is very, very good when he plays teams in the playoffs that he played earlier that season. Even if that team beat them before, he's got a very good record. And I think, look, what we're seeing now from teams is there's stuff that could change, yeah, but I don't think you're going to see a drastic change. I'm not really sold on the 49ers. I like them. But I don't think that right now they're capable of winning the NFC and representing them in the Super Bowl. I just told you I'm favoring the Seahawks. But when I look at the AFC and I look at playoffs, I say, okay, right now, who could beat the Patriots? If it was AFC Championship game and it was in Foxborough, because right now the Patriots are still in the lead for home field advantage in the AFC in the playoffs. I gotta lean New England. And I'm not just saying that as a Patriots fan. I'm saying that as an analyst, as a broadcaster. I would lean New England. And really, when you look at the AFC, the Chiefs have been slipping. You got Patriots and Ravens, and then you start to ask yourself, man, what do you have after that in the AFC? And I mean, really think about that. If I took the Patriots and Ravens out of the equation, which one of those final current playoff teams could you see representing the AFC in the Super Bowl? And I believe, the Chiefs are going to rebound. Like I said, they've had some struggles the past couple of games, but I think that they're going to be just fine. And I expect them to be there near the end of the season, trying to get to the Super Bowl. But again, when you look at that AFC and you go, okay, Patriots and Ravens, we know that they're good. After that, who would be your pick? I would think most people would lean Chiefs, but, there's a lot of really good, 6-4, type of teams out there right now. It's just a hard pick. It's a hard pick, but I think the Ravens, what I was going to, I'm not going to say they're the best team in the NFL. I'd say right now they're playing the best, but if you were asking me to say, are they the top pick, in my opinion, to win the Super Bowl right now? No, they're not, in my opinion. If you want to talk Super Bowl, I would favor Seattle over Baltimore in that conversation if we didn't get into the whole, AFC and NFC. If you ask me, give you a team other than the Patriots out of the AFC or NFC that you could see winning the Super Bowl, I would pick the Seahawks instead of the Ravens at second. But what we've seen up to everybody, when you get into the later November, early December, that's when you know who, who's who. You got a pretty good idea of the ones that are going to be battling for the Super Bowl, and then the ones that are barely going to get into the playoffs, the ones that are going to have an early exit from the playoffs, and then the ones that, aren't capable of getting to the postseason. Brady says he's not happy with the offense after a 17-10 win versus the Eagles. They're going to get their left guard back on that offensive line. That would help. But really, when you look across the league, a lot of teams, when you look across the league, have offensive line issues. And yes, the Patriots have injuries, but I really don't look at that or use that as an excuse because there's plenty of teams, just about every team in the NFL has injury issues. I do think the Patriots are going to get these offensive issues fixed, and they're going to be just fine. Well, Georgia topped Auburn 21-14. Your current standings: LSU 1, Ohio State 2nd, Clemson 3, Georgia 4. Then it goes Bama, Oregon, Utah, Oklahoma, Penn State, Florida. OU, remarkable comeback. They were down 25 at the half at Baylor and came back to beat Baylor 34-31. And I've got this question a couple times today, so I'm going to answer it. With Tua done for the season, do you count Alabama out? Absolutely not. I don't. Yes, it's a hard hit, but we've seen teams before. Note Cardale Jones with Ohio State. That year they lost 2 quarterbacks. Cardale Jones was the third option. They went on and won the national championship. It's not like we haven't seen this before. And there's another good example, but I just, for some reason, can't think of that right now, where a team lost their prime starting quarterback and went on to win the national championship. But, it's going to be a tall order for Alabama to get to the playoffs. Georgia at 4. If they lost to LSU in the SEC championship game, close. And let's say Oregon finished with 1 loss and won the Pac-12 title, then the NCAA would have to think, all right, for that final playoff spot, we got Alabama, Oregon, and Georgia. Georgia would have 2 losses. But that one would be to LSU in the SEC championship game. I don't think that Georgia's going to go the rest of the season undefeated. I think if they do, which right now it looks like they're going to be the ones playing LSU for the SEC title, I'd pick LSU there. So really, at least from what we know right now, and we look at and we'll see tomorrow where the committee ranks these teams. But right now, things are pointing to there's a good chance that it's going to come down to either Alabama or a 1-loss Pac-12 champion of who gets that final spot. And that's going to be interesting for the committee. It's going to be interesting. Because they do have to take this loss of Tua into consideration. And we're going to have to presume that they're going to start Matt Jones at quarterback the rest of the season. They got to play Auburn. I believe that's at the end of the season. If they look good in that game, and Matt Jones plays well in that game, I would not be surprised one bit if Bama gets in over a 1-loss Pac-12 champion. That's going to do it for the show tonight, folks. Hope that all of you enjoyed it. For Sports Talk Speaker Radio for iHeartRadio.com, I'm Travis B. Thank you for listening to the show. We'll see you all tomorrow.